This is the Crowdcrux Crowdfunding Podcast with Sal Briggman, where we cover everything you need to know to launch a successful crowdfunding campaign. We speak with proven entrepreneurs who've raised money from the crowd and want to teach you how to do the same. Stay tuned because we're about to reveal how to launch your dream project. With your host, Sal Briggman.
Before we get started with this podcast episode, I want to take a second to introduce you to my friends at Fulfillrite. If you need help shipping out your Kickstarter or Indiegogo perks or rewards, Fulfillrite is the absolute best company for you. I've been working with them for a while and I can vouch for their services. They make it dead simple and take all of the headache out of shipping out all of those boxes, all of those orders to your backers and your customers. If you want to check them out, go to fulfillrite.com at FULFILLRITE.com. What up, crowdfunders? Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. On this podcast, we get super serious into the inner workings of a crowdfunding campaign and unearthing all of the secrets behind a successful Kickstarter, Indiegogo, nonprofit, equity crowdfunding, even real estate crowdfunding campaign. We cover a lot of topics here, but I really try to basically get into the techniques, the tactics, and the things that people are doing to get their project funded, so you can copy it. Like, you can literally just take some of these nuggets that I unearth and you can run with it. You can have a successful campaign. You can also come back on this show. I can't tell you, like, probably a good portion, I should do a study, like how many, but a good portion of this podcast, I would say maybe like 10% up to 15% are people who have actually listened to this show before and then come back on when they were successful with crowdfunding. So it's kind of cool. It's like a self-perpetuating loop where we're learning about crowdfunding, then we're sharing more tips, and we're all working to have our pulse on this new cutting-edge way of getting orders, of getting lots and lots of customers, and getting funding for your business. My goal when I started this podcast was to kind of have like a real-time feedback loop in understanding what it is that you have to do in order to have a 6 or a 7-figure crowdfunding campaign. I started with blogging, and then I got into the podcast. Now I have a YouTube channel, I have books out there, I have online courses, etc. Many different ways. I have coaching programs, ways that you can kind of supercharge your campaign. And now that we have, or at least I have, unearthed many of these things that work for crowdfunding, trying to get them out there to as many people as possible so you can benefit and we can improve the success percentages with crowdfunding. Anyway, that was really serious. But I really do, this is a passion for me. This is something I love to do, dude. Today, I actually talked with a crowdfunder who has, at the time I'm recording this, raised over $160,000 on Kickstarter. And this is for the world's best 3-in-1 cycling jacket with 15 features. This is the Mova 3.0. So the entrepreneur behind this, interestingly enough, is from Colombia, which is kind of cool. It just shows you can launch a campaign literally from anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where you are, if you're in China, if you're in Europe, if you're in Italy, you're in France. I've had people from all over come on this show and share what worked for them. So in addition to this jacket, he also launched another Mova cycling jacket campaign, which raised about $66,000. So he literally went from $66,000 to $164,000. So the cool thing about this episode is, like, you're going to hear for him why he had a longer campaign duration with this project. You're going to hear from him what he did that actually worked to get some funding, and also the ways that he has improved his project and like what he would do going back in time. So you're going to pretty much just learn from a campaign that I think we're seeing more and more projects being launched by Mova. I think we're probably going to see another one in the future, and this brand is growing. And I can't tell you the number of people that have launched multiple successful crowdfunding campaigns that have come on this show and said, man, like, Kickstarter built my brand. It's so inspiring to me that we're seeing that. We're seeing online businesses grow as a result of crowdfunding. So I think you're going to like today's episode. I also wanted to really quickly just mention that if you are interested in learning more about Kickstarter, and specifically getting into the whole launch formula that I've put together, the formula, if you will, that gets a campaign funded, the formula that you need to follow if you want to exceed your fundraising goal, and also that same formula that causes you to maintain momentum throughout the project. This is kind of what you need to do, the paint by numbers, system, if you will, that I've uncovered in order to have a successful campaign and to do it with as few resources as possible, and sort of with the least headache, I would say, as possible. And it's took me a long time to put together, since 2012. So if you're interested in learning about that, I have a great book out there on Audible, which you can download and you can listen to in the car, on your way to work, wherever you are. This Audible book also, if you sign up for a free 30-day trial of Audible, you will gain access to this book for free. So if you book, I think Audible's awesome. Like, you can learn a lot. You can always get books every single month. It's kind of like Netflix, but for books. Like, I mean, it's awesome too, because it's kind of hard to read a physical book nowadays, but you can listen to a book and you can learn on the go. You can just download this information into your head. So I love Audible. It's awesome. It's kind of like, to me, an extension of podcasting. So if you're interested in getting access to the Kickstarter launch formula on Audible, you can go to this link, crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter audio. That is crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter audio, crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter audio. Without further ado, let's get into today's podcast episode and get into how this Colombian entrepreneur raised over $164,000 on Kickstarter. Roland, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me today. I'm so happy I can answer all your questions, and I'm also very excited about this podcast. So, hi, everybody.
Totally. I'd love it if you could take a second, maybe just share with the audience, what is your project that's garnered so much attention? Can you tell us a little bit about the product and who it's for?
So, we're making the cycling jacket, mainly for urban cyclists and for bike packers. So it's a waterproof jacket that is also reversible. So on one side you have a very bright high vis or red and some reflective, so you can be seen from the car drivers. And on the other side you have a more chill, social, and to hang out with your friends, dark side. It's a very niche product, I would say, like for so our customers are people who might commute to work using their bicycle, or who want to hike also in the mountain, or maybe want to have a big adventure like going 3 weeks and riding a bicycle in Peru or something like that. Mm-hmm. So that's like the main characteristic of the product. So we have there is like 15 features in total. We also have integrated magnet lights. So there are lots of specific details about why this product has been designed for cyclists. I don't know if you want me to get into details.
So also, this is 3.0. So you've done other projects also, right?
Yeah, of course. So this has been a very, very different approach, I guess, from most crowdfunding projects. And so I didn't know anything about what I was doing when I started the first version. So indeed, this is the third jacket we're crowdfunding on Kickstarter right now. Mm-hmm. Why? Because when I first started my first Kickstarter campaign, I didn't know anything about what I was doing. Like, seriously, nothing. I studied political sciences, and I was just getting out of the university, and we kind of took a slow approach to crowdfunding, I would say.
And is this you, and were you the one creating the product, or were you doing the marketing, or were you doing the project management? Like, what was your role with that first campaign?
With everything, like basically, like I was pretty much the guy who was doing everything. But of course, lots of people at this time were interested in working with me. Mm-hmm. But I kind of had to figure out myself about everything basically at the very beginning. Now I'm very fortunate to have a team around the project who I can work with and who have taken great responsibility in the recent achievements.
Nice. Awesome, man. Yeah, your first campaign, it looks like you raised about $132,000 from more than 1,000 backers around the world.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
phenomenal, dude. You definitely tapped into something there, I think. And you're hailing in from Bogota, right? Colombia?
Yeah, so totally. This is where we actually manufacture and design the product. So it's very helpful to be able to just go to the factory, which is right next door,
Hmm.
and work on the product. So actually, right now, in this very moment, while I'm doing this podcast with you, my team is actually riding bicycle to go to the factory and figuring out the production details right now.
Wow,
So
wow.
this is very exciting. Like to be able to ride your bike and just go to the factory and solve problems is just
Yeah.
a huge advantage.
That's very cool. So I kind of want to get into your thought process behind this recent campaign because you have, like you said, you've learned a lot. You've done a few different projects. I think there are some things that are different about this campaign. Most notably, the one I noticed first was that you have a longer funding duration here. What sort of prompted that choice?
Yeah. So actually, we knew that we could not get the jacket out in the reality, like produce a jacket before April. So there is just not a huge interest for us in having a shorter campaign. Uh, we believe that like it just gives us the time to do more, some kind of. So we're not mostly like it's something I'm gonna on the we launched on the 19th of December, and I was like it's a huge effort for me to launch and for all the team to launch a Kickstarter campaign. So we're tired and we just took 1 week off, you know.
Mhm.
So it just gives us the time to structure better the project, I
Mhm.
would say, to
Do you
sum
find
it
it's
up.
harder to maintain momentum when it's a longer campaign like that?
Not really, because momentum really starts at the beginning and at the end of the project. This is so we're not trying to maintain momentum. As we're not pushing it that hard, even like right now, of course, in the last 15 days, we're doing, of course, a lot more, but in the middle of the campaign, we just agreed that it was okay not having many pledges, and like it's normal.
Hmm.
You just need to be patient and to be waiting for the good moment to go full blast, I think.
Totally, yeah. So when it came to the pre-launch here of this project, like, were you pretty much just releasing this to your existing community, or did you do any kind of like email list building or any kind of pre-launch activities for this
Oh,
project?
yeah, of course. So I think the community and the email list is just one thing. So we've been working a lot, like I would say 3 to 4 months before the launch to make people in our community aware that we were about to launch. So, for example, our main page, movacycling.com, where you can buy our products,
Hmm.
was switched to getting subscribers and announcing the Kickstarter campaign. And the aim of the web page was not to sell products, it was to collect email. So
Hmm.
we were definitely working on building the community by growing our email list. That's totally, like, this is the main strategy behind our launch.
Yeah, when it comes to like, I think when you're launching something new, you kind of want people to be on the edge of their seats. Like you want them to be expecting something cool that's coming. Did you do anything to sort of like arouse a bit of curiosity there, or did you just kind of like say, "Hey, we just launched this new project." Like, how did you get people in that frame of mind wanting to support it?
I think it starts, this is so true what you're saying, and you need to get people fired up. Like, you need to get people excited about what you're doing, and they need to feel that. They need to get a sense of, wow, there's something new coming there, and I want to be part of it. And yeah, of course, this is doing videos, doing of course, Instagram and Facebook posts, and just getting the word out there. And this starts. I think this really starts with talking with people around you, like building your let's say the main sentences and the vision of the product and of the campaign you're gonna launch. And this really starts by talking around you, with your friend, with your family, and then expand it to other people.
Yeah.
This is the key. This like emotion, motivation, getting yourself and people around you fired up. It's definitely the key to a successful Kickstarter launch.
I had to interrupt this podcast episode because I want to introduce you to my friends at The Gadget Flow. Their product discovery platform reaches 22 million people per month. They've helped more than 5,000 crowdfunding campaigns thus far, and they have a social media following of more than 700,000 followers. If you want to gain access to their marketplace and list your own product, you can go to thegadgetflow.com/submit and list your project today. Totally. I think that's also what gets people to take action. Like you want people to be so curious and so excited that they actually then take action when you go live, and you get that sort of initial boost of funding. I know, like looking at your Kickstarter stats, you raised like around $30,000 within the first 2 days, which is phenomenal, man. That's incredible.
We're like, and this fires you and the team and other people up even more. And that's just that's like months of work coming into a reality is just mind blowing, just exciting.
Yeah. I think the other cool thing there too is, like, with this project, those people that supported you before and they were able to like sample the jacket in some ways, they have a sense of like your brand now a little bit more too. Did you notice like a lot of people from your previous project supporting it, or was it mainly like all new people?
This is amazing. Like, we have so many people coming back, like 40 or 50% of the backers in the first few days are backers who also had backed previous jackets and previous projects of ours. So it's, and what is exciting is that it kind of gets bigger each time. So so yeah, the more we are, the better launch we're doing each time. Like, it's like I think that this is also one of the key to a great crowdfunded based company, is that to deliver. And if you deliver like on a very like over deliver, will make that people will come back. And treat people well, be kind with your community, try to do the best you can, of course within the financial boundaries that you have, is the master key of just getting people happy with.
Yeah.
They give you money, and you need to be respectful to those people who trust you.
Totally.
And if you're respectful, they'll give back. They'll come back. And, it's.
So just kind of as like a segue here, did you always want to be an entrepreneur? Like, did you always want to launch your own product? Like, how did that come about?
No, this I was never. So, and I'm. So I don't have a lot of entrepreneurs around in my background. I don't have any, actually. And the one of the first inspiring entrepreneurs I got in touch with was Peter from Peter Daring from Peak Design. I'm sure you've heard of it. And I had a cup of coffee with him maybe 2 months ago. And this was like the first contact with an entrepreneur I had. Like, I met others, of course, but in the similar field, I would say. And so it was more about solving a problem, something that I really wanted, than being an entrepreneur. Like this was weird to me. This idea was just
Strange, foreign.
strange, very far away from what I had studied. So when I first started, I was more interested in doing something good for cyclists, that I was feeling excited about, than becoming an entrepreneur. Like I wasn't even thinking about doing a company. Like it was just like,
You wanted to solve this problem that you
yeah,
saw there. What did you take away from that conversation, just out of curiosity?
with Peter.
Yeah.
A lot. Like we had a very, like, an hour. We were talking, and lots of. I think the main thing I took away is like inspiration. Like being in this office and being able to see what's going on is just very exciting. So this is my main takeaway, I would say. And one of the other takeaways, we talked about a lot about financial aspects also, that really matters. Like I was talking about my numbers, and he was talking about his numbers. So we kind of had I had a better sense about what was good and what was healthy in terms of crowd and Kickstarter business. I would say this was a huge takeaway.
What do you
Also,
mean by numbers exactly?
what I mean by numbers is how much does a jacket cost, how much you will spend in shipping this jacket to Europe, how much you're going to spend in advertising, what is healthy to spend in advertising, and production, manufacturing, how you can negotiate your cash flow within the manufacturing process, and like numbers around the business, basically.
Totally.
This was, yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people in the audience probably are curious, that they themselves are also trying to figure out those things. Like, how much should I spend on advertising? What should the profit margin be? These different questions. What did you find to be? I know obviously different product categories are different. People's situations are different. Do you have any ballpark things you can share with them, or any advice you can impart on that?
So one of the main takeaways I had was especially regarding the how you measure advertising spends. And what I was doing before was using I'm still using it. I have both metrics right now. So the CAC, so customer acquisition cost. But this is not as precise as the return on ad spend. So ROAS. You should Google that. It's more precise because it gives. So it's basically for each dollar you spend, how many you get in return, and you really wanna search on that and investigate, and so yeah. So in terms of numbers, basically anything from $1 invested to $3 up to $6, $7 is just good, I would say. 1 to 3 might be a bit tight, for especially if you don't have a huge volume. But 1 to 6 is definitely healthy. So yeah, you should try to, and yeah, I think staying between 3 and 6 on a ROAS is pretty good.
So that's when is that, so just so I understand you correctly, does that mean you're spending that to acquire a customer, or? Yeah, okay. Because I think also you think about like crowdfunding and Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and you kind of think like, well, aren't I going to the crowd to actually get money or get funding? But I think what's changed a lot in the last few years is you now need to be willing to also invest in the project in order to sort of kindle that, in order to sort of start ranking better on Kickstarter and start getting people noticing you and such. So
Yeah.
it's almost like this initial burst or this initial boost by investing a little bit up front there with the ads.
Yeah. it's actually I wouldn't advise. This is not an advice that works for everyone though. In my case, on the first Kickstarter campaign, I wanted to learn how to make a jacket, how to produce them, what would be the cost to ship a jacket, what would be the delays, figure out my supply chain, talk to customer about the product. So if you're not like an experienced person in producing and making stuff, you really, really want to be careful before starting spending a lot of money in marketing. My advice would just make a small campaign that you're gonna be able to try stuff and you're gonna be able to figure out if you're doing it correctly, and then make another Kickstarter campaign with a new product, just like we did Mova 1.0, 2.0, and now 3.0, and this will allow you to a lot of mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And mistakes at a small scale are okay. Mistakes at a big scale, sorry, can kill your company and put you in a very, very bad situation. So I would advise that to really spend money on marketing when you're sure about what's going on behind what you're doing. And if you have too many interrogation marks in your project, then just don't do it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's important too, like that you validate this is something that people want, that this is something that people are wanting to buy at least, or they suffer from that problem. Because all too often you might come up with a great product idea, something that you're just kind of spinning in your head and like, oh my God, this is incredible. But then what you realize is there's not enough people that suffer from the problem, or the people that suffer from the problem aren't willing to spend money to fix that problem. And then it's like you're wasting a lot of money on marketing and you realize it doesn't convert for some reason or whatever reason, So it's a whole, I think that's the whole journey though, is kind of like discovering, is this something that has legs or is going to take off? For you, having this idea about the product and that it solves this problem, do other people also see that same vision,
Yeah. So this is so true. Like, but you need to try. Like, this is why you need to try. I'm sure there are many project and product ideas that haven't been released on Kickstarter and that could be a huge success. The number says that most of the Kickstarter campaigns actually don't get funded. So you just need to try and get out there, and of course when you're making something, it will cost you upfront. Like there is no way it doesn't. Like, if you're gonna run a Kickstarter campaign, you're gonna have to spend money up front. Like, there is just...
I'm speaking to the crowdfunders in the audience who have already launched a Kickstarter campaign, or have actually even successfully run a campaign. And the reason is, I think you will understand this pain point most. And that is, when you finally do raise money on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, the hardest part is not collecting the cash. The hardest part is shipping out all of those perks and rewards to your backers. It is a nightmare, my friends. It's a lot of spreadsheets, it's a lot of headache, and it's a lot of stress. That's why I recommend BackerKit. If you have not heard of BackerKit, they help you collect surveys, they help you collect data, and the entire fulfillment process is just so much easier and so many less spreadsheets when you use their software. You can check them out at backerkit.com and use CrowdCrux for a special discount. And also, I think what you did, being able to have a conversation with a real person who has a business, that really, I think, changes your perspective a lot. Because I remember when I first met my first, real entrepreneur, I was like, wow, people actually do this for a living? I just read about this. I just heard about this on the news. You just see some of these campaigns that get funding, and you're like, I don't know if that's real or not. But then you have that conversation with someone, it's like, wow, this person's doing it, They're doing what I want to do.
And you get inspired by those people. It's really, and I think we underestimate the power of inspiration, and just being out there, just having a cup of coffee with someone can be very inspiring.
Totally. The other thing I noticed about your project is you actually got into a lot of different media publications,
Hmm.
like Cool Things, Bike Rumor, TFI News, like all of these media publications covered you. Was that all organic? Did you like reach out to these people?
Of course, yeah, you need to reach out. And this can go. Twitter can be useful. LinkedIn can be useful. Just a cold email can be useful. But we are reaching out. We don't have a PR agency, so basically it's just email, like, yeah, talking to people and be kind and reach out and explain your story. And from 100 email, you're gonna have 5 answers, and from those 5 answers, you might have three articles, and that's good enough.
Yeah, it's really playing to win, you know. When it comes to that, people need to see like the prototype? The journalists need to have that in order to review the product or write about you, or were they willing to just based off of the images and like the videos you sent them?
Yeah, that's the so we don't we it's hard. This is actually the first year where we can actually uh, get prototypes to journalists available. Like before that, it was just not possible in terms of production and supply chain. And this year, it's the first time we're sending prototypes, we're sending jackets to influencers and to journalists so they can try them and write their article based on that. But it cannot, like, before that, we also had some coverage, some press coverage without any prototypes to be sent before.
Okay, cool, awesome, man. Well, I think it's been you're just watching your project, seeing how it's been growing. It still looks like you're growing up and to the right with your graph, with with KickTrack. Like you're still growing pretty steadily. It's like almost a linear trend.
Mm.
You're picking up new backers and you're getting more attention. You still have 14 days to go with the campaign.
Yep.
Have you tried out like any new things, like maybe doing Facebook Lives or anything like that to get attention?
Yeah, so we're now we're focused on Kickstarter. So we did a Kickstarter live last Sunday. This definitely is awesome, and we wanna keep building on that and keep doing that. My we wanna be we wanna make Kickstarter at like kind of the top of the pyramid right now. So every effort, everything we're doing will be the main place gonna happen on Kickstarter. So if we're doing a live, uh, we're gonna make it on Kickstarter and then share the link on Facebook, on Instagram, and use the social media to converge and to make things happen on Kickstarter.
Hmm.
It's like the place we want to send everybody right now, and so but maybe you're right, we should try it, who knows.
Yeah. I
uh,
was just curious because I know when you have like a longer campaign, you're doing a 60-day campaign, you have
mhm.
more opportunity to do different things,
Yep.
because you obviously have more time. You have more time to build momentum there. So I was just kind of curious. The other thing I was a little bit curious about, so I was looking through like your projects and everything, and one of the I think really cool things when it comes to crowdfunding is it sort of gives you like this opportunity to learn about your customers and learn about their buying behaviors and stuff. Did you learn anything in terms of like the reward tiers, like people supporting maybe tiers that you didn't think, or leaving comments about things? Like, did you learn anything new or surprising throughout the project?
Yeah, totally. So um I'm surprised. So we have the main product, which is a jacket right now, and we always try to have other rewards and to try new stuff also over there. So apart from the jacket, we're also launching a hoodie and we call it the air jacket, which is a windbreaker, and they are doing amazingly well. Yeah. So this is something. It's actually one of the key to getting more engaged backers and backers that will pledge more, which is definitely something you wanna try to do.
Yeah, definitely.
So no, it's amazing, and it's a key of the project. It's one of the key of the project, definitely, without any doubt. I would definitely recommend it if it doesn't takes you a lot of energy, and you need to be able to kill them also quite quickly. We already killed a few rewards on this Kickstarter campaign.
Interesting. So the last question that I have for you here, I know you've been really generous with your time, sharing all of these tips and advice and a bit of your story here. One of the questions I had for you was, all too often, I think that when you have an idea in your head, you tend to like procrastinate and you tend to put it off, or you tend to go really slow. And there are times I think where you have to be more diligent and slow. But one of the things that you took away that you sent to me was that you really want to execute fast. Why is that? You said sort of like almost the money isn't executing fast. So I was kind of curious why that was.
So actually, what I was saying is that on the first, it's interesting to look at our company's history to understand that very, very well, and it's a key. It's a key also to make a successful campaign. So on the first project, we said we would be delivering in April, and we delivered in August. Then I realized that, well, each month that passes is money that is just getting out of my bank account, because I need to pay my rent, I need to pay the office, I need to pay the people. And so you need to understand, and this took me time to understand, that as fast as you can get things done, the more the return on your investment will be, because each month there is money getting out. So if you can execute quickly, then you're gonna have more money at the end on your bank account in order to reinvest in the next project.
Yeah, I think that's pretty well said. And also, if you have a team, having fast execution really rallies them around you. Because once people are like a little bit too, you're taking too much time and you're not executing on deadlines, you're not doing these things, it kind of affects morale, and you kind of start to doubt yourself, I think, more.
Totally. And this is where it gets terrible. And because you may have problem in the supply chain, you might have problem in the production, and you can have so many things that goes wrong that you need to go fast, because the faster you go, the less risk you're taking. This is a mistake I did, and it cost me a lot. So I would really recommend to execute the project as fast as possible. And this also means making some it also has some downsides, and you need to find a good balance between fast execution and having an awesome quality and the best product you can deliver. Like, there is definitely a conflict between those two.
I also find that to be the case, and it's almost good to execute, not too fast where like your wheels are flying off, or something like that, but like enough that things are moving forward always quite consistently, and at the same time, you're not always being perfect, because we can fall into the enemy of trying to be perfect with our marketing or perfect with the product. And that's kind of the enemy of progress, I think, because then you kind of wait and you push back and you push back, and you end up never executing, And it's kind of scary. I think it's really scary,
better,
dude.
It's better than perfect. This is such an important thing. Like, and yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. And one of the way to do that is by planning your production, Kickstarter, blah blah blah, front. Like, you need to have and to be able to know when you're getting late also, because sometimes something that will happen 3 or 4 months ago, you could see it. It's there. If you don't, in my case, if I don't order the Velcro and the hook and loop and the fabrics of the jacket by this date, then I'm gonna be late. There is no way I'm gonna be on time. So you need to have like a planning of all the inputs, the fabrics, when it's gonna arrive. in order to deliver on time. And what happened to me on the first Kickstarter campaign is that I wasn't even able to understand that I was late.
Yeah.
So it sounds so basic, but when you have so many things in your head, then you just sometimes you're gonna skip, or you aren't gonna see something that is there that you could see, but you're not paying attention.
Well said.
So
Well, man, thank you so much for coming on the show and, sharing all this great information. And also for other people out there, I think even if, you're not in the United States or you don't have entrepreneurs around you, just even listening to, this show or listening to other people out there that are doing things, I sort of took away that can really impact your mindset. It can make you believe that this is something you can do actually tangibly. And you can also learn stuff. You need to learn things when it comes to your business, the numbers, all that. Where can people go to learn more about your projects, and also for the next 14 days, where can they go to check it out?
So they can definitely go on our webpage, which is movacycling.com, MOVA cycling, CYCLING.com, and this will redirect them to our Kickstarter page. They should find a green button somewhere on the webpage to go and check our live Kickstarter, which will end on the 15th of February. So just a couple of days left.
Okay, cool. We'll be sure to link that up in the show notes. Thank you for coming on and sharing some of these tips and advice and strategy. I look forward to watching your progress over the next 14 days.
Thank you so much. And if there is also additional question, if your listener want to ask me something, I'll be also more than happy to help. So they can, I don't know if I can give my email here if they want to send me an email.
Sure. Yeah.
So my email is Roland, ROLAND, sorry, I'm going to repeat it, ROLAND @movacycling.com. They can email me and I'll be more than happy to share and to help, especially the Kickstarter and Indiegogo community, which are very important for me.
That's really generous, man. I appreciate that.
No, that's okay. Thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure to me to be here and to be able to share my experience with you.
Awesome. Thank you. Let me tell you about our latest sponsor, SendPro Online by Pitney Bowes. Shipping can be complex. Things can get really confusing really fast. With SendPro Online, it's easy to save time and money no matter what you send, from letters and packages to overnights and flats. You can easily compare USPS, UPS, and FedEx in an all-in-one online tool. You can print shipping labels and stamps directly from your printer. You can even track all of your shipments and get email notifications when they've arrived. SendPro Online is only $14.99 a month, and listeners can get a free 30-day trial when you visit pb.com/crowdcrux. That's pb.com/crowdcrux. Experience the convenience of SendPro Online for yourself when you sign up for a free 30-day trial. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. My name is Salvador Briggman. Thank you for listening to this episode specifically, where you learned how the Mova 3.0 was able to have a 6-figure crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter, how the entrepreneur from Colombia was able to just smash their goal, go way beyond their initial project, and raise over $164,000. I think this is inspirational for a few reasons. Number one, they did a lot better than their first project. Number two, it shows you can launch a campaign from anywhere. And number three, if you really do care about something, you really want to see a product exist in the world, you can fricking do it, man. There's nothing holding you back. It does take a little bit of effort. It does take a little bit of learning. But that being said, it's the easiest time in the history of this planet, in the history of the world, to actually do this, to actually get the funding for your project. And I've documented this on this podcast, showing you how real entrepreneurs just like you, people who don't have the know-how, people who don't have a tremendous budget, people who are just kind of like normal everyday individuals, are able to raise a bunch of money with crowdfunding. And these are actual entrepreneurs and creative types and people, and that is just like so freaking cool to me. So if you are not getting started yet, dude, get started on your project. Start putting it together. start learning a little bit more about how Kickstarter works, grab a copy of the Kickstarter launch formula at crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter audio. That book is on Audible. You can listen to it. You have no excuse not to download that info into your brain and to have all of that knowledge at your fingertips. It's like super affordable. And also, if you want to get it for free, just sign up for a free 30-day trial of Audible. And you also then get access to Audible, which is like Netflix for books, basically. It's kind of like being able to have this classroom setting where maybe you're going to work, you're not able to learn while you're working, but on the train there, for 30 minutes, if you're in New York City, you can learn, you can listen to a book. If you're in the car, you can listen to an audiobook, you can listen to my podcast. You can turn your life into a learning center, into a classroom, and then you are primed to be successful when you go live with your campaign on Kickstarter and hopefully also see a 6 or 7 figure crowdfunding campaign. So that link, if you want to check it out, Kickstarter launch formula is crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter audio, crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter audio. Go to that link, sign up for the 30-day free trial, and you also get a free copy of the Kickstarter launch formula. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. I hope you took away some good nuggets, some strategies, some things you can apply to your crowdfunding campaign. I'd appreciate it if you left a review on iTunes. If you did enjoy this episode, let me know so I can bring on more guests like this. Or if you want to see other types of guests, let me know so I can do that. I listen to you to the best of my ability. If you want to have more of a direct contact with me, I do offer coaching calls, which you can check out at crowdcrux.com/coaching. Those coaching calls, we go in depth into your project. We review basically any kind of materials that you have, the strategy you have, look into maybe agencies you might want to go with, or ways that you can improve your project, what you need to do going forward, and also sort of give you some feedback on your goal, your pricing, the way you're doing this whole project, etc. It's a no-brainer to gain. You're just literally picking my brain for like an hour, so I think it's a no-brainer. No pun intended. But again, my name is Sal or Salvador. I hope you like this podcast episode. I look forward to talking with you next week, but until then, I will see you next time.